sitting here. You want to put a treat in the palm of your hand, show your dog you have the treat, and put your hand in a fist. And your dog will kind of eventually paw at your hand, and you want to reward that the second she does this. And you want to make sure that you reward coming from you and not just opening up your hand, so you know that the dog is getting a treat from you, not just your hand. So make the fist. Yes, good girl. Once she paws at it, so she knows that's kind of what we're expecting of her. Yes, good girl. And then once your dog gets used to this, you can begin to put out your hand without any treats in it. You get, sit. Yes, good girl. And then what you can kind of do is start opening up your hand instead of leaving it as a fist. If your dog naturally puts your paw, good girl, and say paw as she's doing that. Paw, good girl. Once your dog has mastered paw, you can teach him some more fun tricks such as high five or even fist bump. So what you want to do is sit, sit. So instead of just having your hand like this, normally for paw, you can kind of angle it up a little bit, say paw, and have your dog give paw this way, kind of angle it up even a little bit more, good girl. And then you can kind of rotate your hand a little bit so it's still paw, good girl, but now you can see it kind of turned into a high five. So you just want to gradually move your hand up into that position, and if at any point your dog doesn't give paw, you want to move back a step and make sure they're comfortable with the position before. So you can kind of high five, good girl. Then you can introduce the name high five so they think it's a different trick. And for fist bump, it's pretty much the same thing. So you can, instead of having your hand like this, you just want to put your hand like this and say paw, paw, good girl. And once they know that concept, you can kind of change it to really anything you want. You can teach them to wave if you want to. So what I do is I just say paw and I leave my hand a little farther out. So paw, good. See, she knows what it is, so she's gonna move her paw out in a wave position. So paw, good girl. You can kind of transition to the next name, wave, so she knows it's a different trick. So wave, good girl. And I do the signal like this. She knows that whenever I have my hand here, she places her paw. So when I go like this, just move it a little bit. Then she just kind of floats it in the air, almost like a wave. Get up, come here. Ready? Wave, wave, good girl. Here we go. Wave, see, wave, good girl. So another great trick to teach your dog is sit pretty. So you want to make sure that they're in the sit position. And what you want to do is very gradually just kind of lure them up so they put their paws up. And the second that their paws release and go off the ground, you want to reward. Come here. Even just an inch off the ground when they're learning is great. So sit. Move up, oh, good girl. She already knows kind of what to do because we worked on it a lot, but the more you practice this, the better it's going to be. So I want to just lower her up a little bit, girl. And then she can begin to hold this position in the air. So you want to lower up in the air, constantly give her treats in the air to get her comfortable with holding this. Good girl. Good girl. And instead of lowering, once they get used to it, you can kind of almost just bring your hand up a little bit because they know the general concept of it. And you can introduce the name sit pretty. So sit, sit pretty. You can hold it, you can say okay, and release her when she's done, once you're ready. Sit, sit pretty, good girl, okay, good job. You can also teach your dog to spin in a circle. Basically, you're just going to do this by luring your dog in one direction. So you want to keep the treat in line with their nose, kind of spin them around, and give them the treat once they finish their circle. Good girl. Once you get familiar with this, you can introduce the name and say spin. Ready, spin? Good girl. And eventually you can phase out these treats, just kind of point and your dog will get the motion. And if you want to go the opposite way, start from the very beginning, lower the other way, and use a different name so your dog knows that it's a different trick, and you can use different hands however you want your dog to know the command. Another trick to teach your dog is weave through your legs. So you want to start with your dog sitting at one side. Sit, sit. You want to move your leg out like this, lure your dog around. You want to switch luring, step forward again, and move them around like this. And just doing it the first one step or even 2 steps the first time is better for your dog to kind of slowly figure it out. So you want to have them sit, move, step, and just lure, switch your lure so you're constantly by your dog's nose, move forward a little bit. And then gradually you can fade out this luring sit and just kind of point to your leg almost and have them go back like this.